Good morning. Welcome to the Better Business Workshop. Today, we're looking at learning from past experiences. You know, it's often said that the past is a predictor of the future. And I'm joined by my colleague Gareth today to help me talk about that. Gareth, I know you've got a lot of experience of learning from experiences. How are you today? Great to see you.
Yeah, I'm good, thanks. Yeah, dude, it's my favorite subject because business owners don't do this enough. That's my opinion.
All right, brilliant. Love that, Gareth. Let's dive into some of this. You've got tons of experience of doing this. This slide's great. It says games are often a reflection of our behavior, right? And none more so than your previous experience, where you're very used to kind of practicing scenario planning, role playing, right? And tell us a bit about that, Gareth.
Yeah, 100%. You know, this is a massive thing in the armed forces. And the reason for this is like games, as it says, the games are a reflection of behavior. How you behave in games is how you behave in life, right?
Right.
It's just amplified in a game. Okay. So what we can do is, you know, if you're playing Monopoly or you're playing whatever, right, we can extrapolate the extreme behaviors to say, okay, this is what this person is like in life, right? And in the military, you spend 80% of your time exercising, um, on kind of wargaming, like you say, like tabletop exercises, um, scenario planning, strategizing, contingency planning. I spend a lot of my time writing up contingencies for things that might not ever happen, right? And you know, it doesn't stop there. Even when you go out to places like Iraq and Afghanistan, I was astonished that even though you've done 6, 8, 12 months usually of build up training, of exercising, of going out, doing the stuff that you're going to be doing on the ground, you know, before every patrol, what you do is you do something called rehearsals, right? And you spend an hour or two before every patrol working through different scenarios, uh, usually in slow time, right? Because what we say is slow is smooth and smooth is fast, right? And massive generalization, but there was a study done to say that the people who got hurt really badly in places like Iraq and Afghanistan where people who didn't quite know where their pouches were, didn't quite know where the vehicle was, or didn't quite know where the extra ammunition wasn't, and it was that half a second that might have cost them something, right? So we do rehearsals all the time. It actually, you know, you often think, you know, have I not joined up to go to war here? Have I joined up just to go and exercise? Right? That's what goes through your head the whole time. But what it means is when you do get into a situation, it's just so instinctive. It's just so reactive. It happens without you even thinking about it because you've done all this exercising, wargaming, scenario planning, tabletop exercises beforehand.
Love that. Love that, Gareth. Well, it's often said in strategy and in business. Let's apply some of that. So it's often said that, you know, the first rule in battle is that the plan goes out the window, right? But as exactly as you've said, if you've got multiple scenarios for your business and you rehearse them, then you can very easily change tack and adapt and go in a different direction.
Yeah, and yeah, no good plan survives first contact with the enemy. That's the kind of thing. You know, you can have the best plan in the world, but as soon as something happens, it just goes. You know, people start running everywhere. People start shooting everywhere. It just all goes up in smoke. You know, quite literally. And you know, I was interested in what Clive Woodward said about this as well when they were going in the build up to the World Cup. You know, they would be out for dinner, and he would be like, "Right, guys, you know, 5 minutes to go. You've got a kick and you got a penalty in front of the post. Like, what do you do, right?" And he got them thinking. So that when it came to it, when the drop goal from Johnny Wilkins, that was something they had talked through hundreds of times. You know, what happens if we get a scrum, you know, right in front of the post? You know, what's going to happen there? You know, and it just made it so instinctive. Now, what I've heard a lot from business owners and I make a joke of it now, but it's a serious point. What it says that if you grow, so does your business. I'm sure you've heard this as well, Mark, is that you get a business owner who says, hey, I've been in this business for 20 years, 30 years. What can you possibly teach me about my business, right? And I turn that around to them and say, look, if you're really honest with yourself, is that 20 years experience, or is that 1 year's experience repeated 19 times, right? And if they're really honest with themselves, they have to go with the second one. They have to go with, I've actually just done the same thing every year for 20 years, right?
Yeah.
And it was said to me by a really wise guy who was actually in the education sector, and he said, in this game, you have to move forward just to stand still, right? And I think that applies to every industry, right? You just to stand still, you have to be moving forward, right? I know it sounds counterintuitive, but it's so true, because systems move on, people move on, technology moves on. So just to stand still, you have to learn, and you have to grow, and you have to move forward.
Yeah, totally. In reality, if you're not learning, you're going backwards. That's exactly the way to think about it. So as well, Gareth, take us through the second one. If you grow, so do the people around you, right?
Yeah, totally. And it's that old saying, isn't it, where an overused conversation between a CEO and a CFO, who the CEO says we have to bring on our people, we have to grow our people, and the CFO says, well, what if we spend all this money growing our people, sending them courses and upskilling them, and then they leave? And the CEO turns around and says, well, what if we don't and they stay, right? And I know that's now an overused story, right? But there's a lot of truth in it. And a lot of business owners think it's their job to grow the business, but it's not. The job of a business owner, of a CEO, of an MD, is to grow the people who grow the business, right?
Totally.
Once you start to flick your mindset around, it starts to make a lot more sense.
Love that, Gareth. Love that. That's the third point there. That you don't grow a business, you grow the people. You look after the people look after the customers, and the customers look after the business. That's the cycle of business. So brilliant, Gareth. Look, what a great session today. It's been fantastic. Folks, look, there's absolutely tons more content like the stuff that we've just gone through. You can, if you want to talk about how you can kind of learn and kind of improve and drive forward on your business, if you want to come and have a strategy review with Gareth and I, you're very welcome to do so. Go and jump on the website at miltonkeynes.actioncoach.co.uk, and you can book yourself a complimentary strategy review there. We'd love to meet you and hear all about your business. There's tons more content like this over on our groups, on the Better Business Workshop over on Facebook and on LinkedIn. We'll put the link to those groups in the comments below this post as soon as we've finished. Just click on those and get yourself into the groups. There's tons of content, and you'll get it in the VIP group over there. We'll be back here on Monday at 8 o'clock. Gareth, wishing you a fantastic weekend. Thank you so much.
Have a great weekend.